Isekai or Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland. That's what Clayface kept saying. Episode 2, still no titles, so we're gonna call this one Prison Break. And it's your boy Icon with a DC Japanese animated TV review for you. And in the last episode, the Suicide Squad, they did get captured. Like, they saved some human-looking beings from a bunch of pigs, and those same humans who they rescued and basically knocked them out and took them to prison. And before this episode started, I went into the kitchen because I hadn't eaten all day. And I was like, you know what? I'm starving. Let me make something to eat. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to stand here in silence while I'm cooking. So let me just turn on episode 2. I'll play episode 2 and listen to it while I'm cooking. And then I realized there are damn subtitles and I can't understand what the hell's being said. So this is actually killing me. But anyway, so now when the episode starts, the Suicide Squad is in prison, and we get introduced to the queen and the princess and the first night of this new world, this Isekai world that we're in. And they were the knight. His name is Cecil. Cecil. He was talking to the queen because he was like, listen, these people that just arrived, he said that they're weird, like they're different, they have weapons, they were able to take down a bunch of these minotaur pigs and everything. He was like, I think we need to explore that and use them to help us win this fight. But then the queen was just like, no, that's a coward's way of speaking. And then she said that, she's like, you sir, you're supposed to be the #1 knight of the realm, and if you can't take care of our problem on our own, then she's like, you're not fit to hold that sword. And then she dismissed him completely. And then her daughter got up, the princess, and she was like, but mother, she was like, oh, I don't know, this is how they really sound, I'm just assuming. she's like, oh, but mother, she's like, but if these beings can help us win the war, should we not take advantage of it? And she was like, I say thee, nay. And then she told her daughter, if you have nothing good to say, then be gone from my sight. So the daughter went into her room. The knight shows up, Cecil shows up, he's talking to the princess, he's like, oh, you called for me, milady. And then she was just like, oh, good sir, she was like, tell me about these beings from another realm and how they could help us win the battle. So then he starts telling them about the shit that he saw. So now it takes us to the prison that the Suicide Squad is actually in. And while they're in the prison, and this this is the part that got me. So they're in the prison. All 5 of them are in the prison. And Peacemaker had said, because earlier when they were talking to the wall, Amanda Waller had said to them that the bombs in their neck are on a 72-hour timer, and they need to get back to the ship, get back to the helicopter, because once they're within range of the helicopter, it sends out like a transmission that resets the bombs in their neck. So they're saying if you don't go back to the helicopter within 72 hours, then your head's going to automatically explode because the bomb's going to go off. So Peacemaker knew that, and he said it's already been 12 hours. So he said we got 58 hours now to get back to that helicopter, otherwise we're all dead. And I'm sitting here and I'm just like, why are y'all in prison? Clayface is right there. And then everybody's just like, oh, what are we gonna do? We're in a new world, like, what's going on around here? This shit is crazy. Harley had some weird flashback dream about when she beat up some cops that was talking shit about her and the Joker, and I'm just like, why are you guys in prison? Clayface is standing right there. And then they're just like, oh, what of King Shark? And they're just like, oh, King Shark, he's unconscious. I guess he ate too many pigs and then passed out because they couldn't get him to wake up. And then Deadshot's just like, I've been in prison before, like they'll never break us. And then he was just like, obviously we're not welcome because it's been 12 hours and we're still here. And I'm like, Clayface is standing right there. So then Clayface gets up, goes through this whole dramatic spiel about how he's a well-renowned actor and, like Alice in Wonderland will never tame him, and this is the ultimate form of an actor to play the ultimate role and be the ultimate hero. And I'm just like, bro. So then he stands up, and then he uses his power because he's Clayface, and he just walks through the bars, and I'm like, why did that take so long? And then as soon as he walks through the bars, he starts monologuing again. And then he's just like, oh, my friends, he said, I shall return to save you from the treachery of prison. And then he went on for so long that the rest of the squad was like, you know what? I'd rather stay locked up. They called the guards. They were like, guard, he's trying to escape. And the guards tased him and put meta handcuffs on him and stopped him from using his power. And I'm just like, I understand y'all could have escaped, but I would have did that shit too because him talking that long was annoying. Like, if I'm being honest, the Clayface portion of it it's only annoying because I have to read all of this shit at the bottom of the screen. So because his character is a little over the top and very eccentric and he talks in like these long ass weird monologues, it is torture to have to read all that and understand what the hell he said. So then they basically tased him. They put the medicuffs on him, and then it was lunchtime, so they brought all of them to the cafeteria. They're in the cafeteria, and then while they're all sitting there talking about what they're gonna do, then some ogres showed up, and then the ogres were basically just like, "Oh, you're sitting in my seat." But the ogres were talking in ogre speak, so the Suicide Squad couldn't understand them. And then Harley was like, "Well, what's going on?" She was like, "What are you talking about?" And then that's when Deadshot was like, "Isn't it obvious?" He said, "No matter what planet, what Earth, what realm you're in," he said, "prison talk is prison talk. They're basically like telling us we don't belong here and to get out of their seat." He was like, "I know those expressions." So then Clayface tried to talk to them, and because he was in meta handcuffs, the ogre punched him in the face. And then Harley was like, "Fuck that." She smacked him up. Deadshot smacked him up, and then this whole big fight happened where Peacemaker, Deadshot, and Harley basically alone whooped all the ogres' asses, and they took over the prison in the cafeteria. So then the cops show up. The cop, what we call them, cops, like the guards show up, and then when the guards show up, they basically take the Suicide Squad and they put them in and basically, like when you're in prison and they're just like, put them in solitary. They basically put them in solitary. I don't know why they put all 5 of them in the same prison, especially King Shark, because he didn't have anything to do with it, but they put all of them in the same prison. And when they're all in the same prison, there's a guy in there who's from Earth and who speaks English. And then when we get to meet him, that's actually Rick Flag. So that's what happened to Rick Flag. So Rick Flag is basically being debriefed by the Suicide Squad. He's talking to them about what happened to them. They tell him the skinny, they give him the dirt, and then he's just like, "Okay, we got to figure out a way to get out of here." King Shark ends up waking up, and then when King Shark wakes up, he was about to eat everybody, but then they told him that there's real food on the other side of the door. King Shark breaks the door open, and now we got a prison break, and the Suicide Squad escapes the prison. When they escape the prison, the guards show up, and when the guards showed up, they had like these mallets, like these clubs, like these mallet-looking things that basically wielded magical power. Clayface said that in this realm, because he's a metahuman, being in this magical realm actually boosts his metahuman power. So he was able to create like multiple keys with his clay body, and he opened all the cell doors to all the other prisoners. So now there's a big fight that's happening. They're killing all the guards, and the prisoners are basically taking over the prison. So then after that, Cecil, like the head knight in charge, off of the princess's orders, because the princess was just like, "Oh, bring this Suicide Squad people to me, so we can ask for their help to save our world." And so he's going down there, I'm assuming, to go talk to the Suicide Squad and get information about them and their powers and what they do. And then when he gets there, he sees that the Suicide Squad and all the prisoners basically took over the prison. So he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "There are no guards." He's like, "Y'all just sitting here just eating and just chilling." And then when he shows up, Harley's like, "Hey, everybody, like, we got a problem on our hands." And then that's when Rick Flag was just like, "Why are we still sitting here eating? We need to get out of here, especially because you guys have bombs in your neck. Why are we just chilling?" That's how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna say this: when you watch the second episode, stay and watch the credits, because they have my homegirl Amanda Waller out here looking crazy. So I said, it's good. It's short. Like, the thing is, they're short episodes. They're like 30-minute episodes. So not a lot happens in each episode, but enough happens that keeps your interest, that makes you want to see more. Like I said, but if we're doing the whole thing where if it's Japanese subtitle, if it's like English subtitle, if it's dubbed and they're gonna be speaking Japanese and we gotta read, they need Clayface to cut down on all that monologue, because that shit is crazy. But share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below, and let's continue talking about the Suicide Squad. So check me out on X, check me out on Twitter, always on YouTube, and even on TikTok, where you can share your questions, comments, and concerns. Episode 1 should be up on the channel by the time you watch this. Also, check out my episodes of My Adventures of Superman and my coverage of Brooklyn Comic Con, which is still going strong on my channel. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Go to some more Suicide Squad action. Take care, and we'll have this